Today we're going to begin the second third of the book. We've done 11 lessons. There are 33. So we're starting with number 12, the second third. We're going to be looking at the imperfect middle and passive, and the singular verb of the neuter plural subject, and then various uses of ke and ude. The vocabulary is on page 69, and you'll need to have page 67 of your workbook available a little later on in the lesson. Vocabulary goes like this. Aperkame. It's a deponent word. As you know now, all words that end in me, mi, alpha, iota, they are deponent. So, aperkame, I go away. Biblion, though, a book. Now we get our word Bible from this, biblios, or Bible. Biblion, though, a book. Demonion is the word for demon. Demonion, though, a demon. Now, of course, that's a giveaway too. It sounds like it. Vekome, deponent, I receive. Ekporevome, deponent, I go out. Ergon, to, a work. Erg is a measure of work in science. Erg, measure of work. Ergon, I work. Eti, an adverb, still or yet. Thalassa, e, a lake or sea. Ke, as a conjunction, and, also, or even. And then ke, with a few dots in between, that is words in between, intervening words. And then another ke would be both and. We already had men and the in that way. Ude, as a conjunction, and, not, nor, or not even. And then ude, with intervening phrase or clause, neither nor. Ude, neither nor. Upo, an adverb, but not yet. Peri, with the genitive, concerning or about, and peri with the accusative, around. Plion, though, a boat. Synerkame, I come together. And iper, with the genitive in behalf of and with the accusative above. Now that's the vocabulary. Make sure you get that down and make sure you bring that all together with all that you already know. Now I want to show you an imperfect middle. Now, you saw that. I didn't pose for that. Look at this. Now I think I'll breathe again. This imperfect middle that I had in mind was this kind of an imperfect middle. The forms of the imperfect are built on the present stem with an augment, and then the secondary middle or passive endings. Min, u, to, metha, sta, ndo. Now, the endings will go like this as we say them. Men, u, to, metha, sta, ndo. And you'll hear them on the tape in that way. Min, u, to, metha, sta, ndo. And we'll learn them in that fashion. But you see that the first person, this would be in the passive. Remember, the middle and passive forms in the present system are the same, and imperfect is a part of the present system. So the middle and passive forms will look alike. We will translate only passive. Remember we said that Machen would not give us anything except passives. So whenever we give a form that looks like this, we'll translate it passive in the exercises. But the translation of the imperfect would be, I was loosing for myself. The passive will be, I was being loosed. Remember, a being indicates passive in English. So I was being imperfect, being passive. So I was being loosed, you were being loosed, he was being loosed, we were being loosed, you were being loosed, they were being loosed. Now, we want to get this on page 23, but before we do that, on page 24, remember the way we divided words? Li, o, mean. We're going to divide that word up, and then we'll let you put that in your workbook on page 24, where it says imperfect, middle, or passive. And this will be what? Now think about this. This is called, right, an augment, the present stem, the variable vowel, and then secondary, middle, or passive endings. All right, that's on page 24, under the imperfect, middle, or passive. Now let's look at the workbook, page 23. You see we already have this filled in on the present tense. Now, last time we filled in the imperfect active. Now we can fill in the imperfect middle and passive. Now, they're both the same, as you know. So we just filled in one place, and if you want to repeat it here, or just put same, because they are the same. Secondary endings, primary endings. Now, we need to look at something about those endings on the board. Those endings, if you learn them now, you have all the endings you need for the verb. You have the primary active, primary middle and passive, and they are like this. O, is, e, omen, ete, husi. And you also have me, e, te, metha, ste, and then unde. All right, those are the primaries. So think about it in this way. The ones that begin with omega, that's the present, active. These are the present, middle, and passive. Get those down in your mind so that when you see one of these in this line, you know that you have a present active form. A present, middle, or passive form would be these. These are the primary endings. You won't get any more endings. The rest of the verb chart that we have there will have these endings with just a few little changes within the body of the word. So get these down. It's very important. Primary endings, present tense. Now the secondary endings are the ones that we have with the imperfect. Imperfect, active, and now we have the middle and passive. The active, own, es, e, omen, ete, own. Okay? Now, of course, we know these are variable vowels in there, and there's a variable vowel over here mixed in. So, but the way we learned them was own, es, e, omen, ete, own. Then we have the mean, what we're just learning now, mean, u, do, and metha, ste, and undo. Okay? So learn these, and anything that begins here, these are the active endings of the imperfect, or the secondary active endings. Secondary, middle, and passive endings. And these endings will now be put on to all verb forms in the indicative. And if you know these, then you know all of your forms. It's very simple from here on out through the next 4 or 5 chapters. Very same thing, just little changes within the body of the word. Now, the explanation of some paragraphs here is in order. For instance, in paragraph 144, verbs which are deponent in the present are also deponent in the imperfect. Now, what he means by that is, if you have a verb, let's say, you have this verb, you have leo, and then you have a form leome. As you know, this is the active form, this is the middle or passive form of leo. Now, we also have in the, we've had already, erkome. Erkome. Now, there was no form here, no active form of erkome. Remember, that's deponent, has no active form. It looks like this one, but because there is no active form, then this is the deponent, and it is middle or passive form with active meaning. Now, what he's saying here is that when you make this form imperfect, if you want to make this one imperfect, it's elion. See? Elion. Imperfect. Fine. And you have an imperfect middle of this one, which would be eliomen. See? Eliomen. Now, these forms you can have both, because you have both in the active, or in the present. Present system has leo, elion. Eliome, eliomen. Eliomen. All right, now, what he's saying here is when you have you go to make erkome imperfect, then you're going to have to make it imperfect in this side. middle and passive. So, erkeme will be irk, o mean. See, there is no form over here. There's no form up here, no active form in the present, so there can be no active form in the imperfect. So, in the present, will dictate what you do in the imperfect. None here, none here, none here. Erkeme, if it's a deponent in the present, it will be deponent also in the imperfect. That's what paragraph 144 is saying. In 145, the neuter plural subject may take a verb in the singular. Now look at that illustration he gives. Ta demonia ex ercite. The demons go out, but ex ercite is not go, it's goes. I go, you go, he goes, third person singular. And yet you have demons. So you don't say the demons goes out. I hope you don't. What we have here is then a neuter plural subject looked at as a group. The group of demons go out. The group called the demons go out. So that's the neuter plural subject with a singular verb. Tafta esti ta kaladora. These are the good gifts. Well, these, esti is. You wouldn't say these is the good gifts, but the tafta, being plural, may take a singular verb. And he goes on to say in the top of page 71 that sometimes that happens, but other times it will have a plural verb. So whenever you see a neuter plural subject, look around and see if there's a singular verb, and don't let that throw you. Because what you'll say, people, students will ask me time and time again, this sentence is wrong, Machen made a mistake. And I'll say, have you looked at paragraph 145 lately? Because that's the key. Then 146, we have the uses of ke and ude. Now, the first one I want to talk about is ke, when it means also or even. He says frequently it means also or even. Then here's another Machinism. Well, first let me tell you, read one more sentence. When it is thus used, it stands before the word with which it is logically connected. Well, that's good. And then you might add to that, it is diagrammed under that word. It stands before the word with which it's logically connected and is diagrammed under that word. And you're diagramming. But then here's the Machinism. In the case of also, the English order is the reverse of the Greek order, and in the case of even, it is the same as the Greek order. Got that? What he means is that when you have ke, ego, lego, this is the illustration he's giving. Ke, ego, lego. Now, you can translate this ke either by also or even. And what he said is, if you translate it, this is the and, or we'll just use I say, okay? The diagram would be ego, lego. And what did we say about the diagramming of that? It goes before the word with which it's logically connected and is diagrammed under that word. So it would be ke, ego, lego. Now, if you're saying, I also say, then you would translate it, I also say. Now, if you want to translate even, then in English, the even would go before the I. Even I say. So, what he has said is, if you translate it as even, the order will be the same as the Greek. The Greek is ke, ego, lego. Even I say. If you translate it also, the order will be reversed of the Greek. The I will come first, and the translation of ke will come second. Translate even, the same as the Greek order. Translate also, it's the opposite of the Greek order. That's what that paragraph is saying. So when you translate either one, either also or even, but where you put it is dictated by how you translate it. That's paragraph 146. Now we have to look at translation of three different kinds of constructions, which are diagrammed the same. They are all of the similar ilk here. Page 67 of your workbook, the last page, has ke, and then 68, well, it's the same, the last sheet. Ke, and then ude. You'll see the diagramming on that page. And simply put, it's this. Remember we said that we have men and the. We had this last time. Men, and then we have a clause, and then we connect parallel clauses, coordinate clauses, by a dotted line with a coordinating conjunction. Men and that. That is a coordinating conjunction. Now, the other clause would come in this way, and we would be saying, on the one hand, I do this. On the other hand, you do this. A contrast. On the one hand, on the other hand. Now, that's the way the men and that would be diagrammed. Now, if you had ke, it would be the same thing. I'll just see the same organization here. Ke. Both and. We both go to the store and we come home from the store. That kind of thing. Both and. We do both of these things. Both this and this. Both and. And then, ude. We neither do this nor do this. Neither nor. Right? We've had on the one hand, on the other. Ke, both and. Ude, neither nor. Right? We neither do this nor do we do this. Contrastive in that sense. There's one exercise that Machen really did a number on, and I really can't, in all good conscience, leave you by yourself on that one. Look in the exercises. It's number 4. No, it's number 3. Number 3. He gives you 2 of those. He gives you ke, Allah, ude. All of that. It's really 4 sentences. See? Joined by ke, joined by, actually, Allah. So what I do, I bring them out like this. Allah. Actually, the Allah is joining the 2 coordinate sections. So we have ke here. We both do this and do this, but we neither do this nor do this. So we have ude. Isn't that fun? You can really lay that on somebody. Give it to your Sunday school class next time. It won't mean a thing, but it really is impressive. We both do this and we do this, but we neither do this nor do this. That's the way you diagram that. And of course, these are your clauses that he has out there. Whatever else you need there. But I thought that would be worthwhile for you to learn that. Now, these several little things you'll see all picked up in there, and we'll go next time to another primary tense, which is the future tense. Look forward to seeing you at that time.